Okay, Be'ezrat Hashem. So now we are Perek Bet Pasuk Tet Zayin. So as we mentioned in the last few shiurim, Shlomo HaMelech now is summarizing the benefits of all his teachings, okay, in Perek Bet, and obviously compiled with the Perek Aleph, and the protections that we get out of it, right? So in last shiur we spoke about the male aspect of the negative traits, right? Which is Ra, which comes from Kaas, from anger, and has in it Ra u'mirma, right? Blunt negativity on one end, and the manipulative wickedness of the tongue, right? And now he's going to address the female aspect of the negative essence. Good?
One question. Kas, Ra, it's a consequence of Kas, or it has another root?
No. Meaning like this. Kasani, the anger can awake in the nature of a person that allows the anger to grow within him, okay? Or a very blunt, aggressive, clear behavior of hate, okay? And bad, where the person doesn't have any filters or any barriers. Or it can develop like a pain, okay, a frustration, an anger from within, but the person is a little bit more sophisticated about it, and will manipulate his way to implement that pain and that anger in a way that is smoother. Because people, when they see bad, they will protect themselves, right? But when the guy comes and he's soft-spoken and he knows how to manipulate you, that's that, you know, he can get in. It's like the Troy horse, right? When you come with an army, it's one thing, and when you send a present, but inside there's a bomb, is another thing. You know, we spoke about the four anti-Semites, if you recall, the book of Elie Wiesel. He has a. It's called I think it's called L'ennemi, the enemy, if I recall correctly, where he talks about four types of anti-Semites. He talks about the one that says it and does, the one that say but doesn't do, the one that doesn't say and doesn't do, and the one that doesn't say the one that doesn't say and do, and the one that doesn't say and doesn't do, right? So you say and do, say but not do, not say but do, not say and not do. And he tries to elaborate which one is the worst.
Nice.
It's called L'ennemi. I think it's called the enemy. And if at the end, his assessment is that the worst one and the most dangerous one is the one that doesn't say and doesn't do, because you have no way to identify him. So what he says, somebody does.
They are the majority.
Which are the measures. So he says, because you never know when it triggers and when it turns on. It's like a sleeping cell. So yeah. Anyway, so here, right, it's the one. There's one that say and do, and the one that doesn't say but it does. That's the okay. So that's on the male dimension of the bad within an individual, which is engaging and which is more about outside and about hurting and about engaging, right? Because that's what it is, right? Or you're bad to do bad, or you're soft-spoken but to do bad anyways. So And like we said, the male presence is a behavior to give, to impact, where the female is more to receive. Right? Naturally, the man gives and the woman receives in the physical intimacy of a man and a woman. So now we're going to speak about the female aspect of the negative behavior. So and he addresses it as, and Shlomo Melech will address it as like and compare it to a woman. So the pasuk says like this: pasuk tetzayin, meisha zara, from a forbidden woman, la'atzilcha meisha zara, to protect you from the forbidden, forbidden meisha zara, from the forbidden woman, minochia, from the foreign woman, amareha hehelika, which uses soft-spoken language, right? She speaks smooth. So once again, here it says that everything that I've taught you now will protect you from these two traits. Obviously, the mashal is two types of a woman: one that is forbidden, and the other one that is a stranger. Okay. Nochia is the alien one, the stranger, yes. And Zara is the forbidden. And about the Zara, the Isha Zara, Shlomo Melech doesn't really determine what she actually does. So essentially, it's pretty clear. She's forbidden. So the actual connection with her is what is forbidden, right? So it's a clear barrier or distinction about the Isha Zara. But when it comes to the Nochia, to the alien one, apparently there is some mingling, right? There is some type of connection. So therefore, because of that connection, the person is vulnerable to the smooth talk that can lead to the failure of the person, right? To the sin of the person. So the Gaon says this refers to the desire, to the lust that of the person, to the ta'ava. And once again, he says, Shlomo HaMelech will come and split the ta'ava, which is the female side of the bad within the man, the desire, into two. There's two types of that, which is what? The actual ta'ava, the desire, and the greed, the hemda. And he explained what's the difference between desire and greed. He says the desire is a direct interest and instinct to please the body. Immediate physical pleasure. That's
There's no
ta'ava.
spiritual desires.
I'm sorry?
There's no spiritual desires.
It's a good point that you're making. The answer is Vadai there is. Vadai there is. But the desire, the spiritual desire does not come from the same root as the physical desire. If you feel like you desire Torah, it's not the desire, it doesn't come from the same place as desiring pizza.
Okay.
The Yetzer Hara and the imagination, the Rambam says, will make you think that you desire. But the Gaon very clearly, and he brings it in a root, he says that there is no such a thing for the body to desire something spiritual. So the neshama will desire, but it's a complete different type of desire.
Okay. It's another thing.
Yes. And keep in mind, here we are talking about the negative side, right, of the person.
Okay.
So he says like this:
All right.
you have ta'ava and himda, desire and greed. Desire is what? It's the instinct to benefit directly the body and have immediate pleasures, direct pleasures, eating, drinking, sleeping.
That's why when a person is angry, they go to drink, they go to make
Yeah, ודאי, חזק וברוך, חזק וברוך, חזק וברוך. Again,
it's a consequence.
again, the anger is what you bring out, but how you internally benefit, which is the female version of it, face of it. Okay, remember, zachar unkeva bara otam. Everything in creation has a male and female, for the lack of better words, creation, right? There's a duality.
In spiritual too?
I'm sorry?
In spiritual too?
Yes. You have the chokhmah and the bina. Chokhmah is male, bina is female.
Yes.
Chesed and gvura. Chesed is male, and gvura is female. So he says, the person that is consumed by his desires and pleasure and look for the immediate pleasures is completely disconnected from engaging in procreation, in creation of things. Why? Because he's essentially self-centered. He's focused on what does he gain, what does he bring in, what is his immediate benefits: eating, drinking, sleeping, intercourse.
Kids.
Huh?
Like kids.
Yeah, like a kid. But the person can also learn, can also pray. It's only in order to appease, says the Gaon, his conscience, in order to benefit more in his ta'ava. Because when you only focus on desires, somewhere you have a conscience that makes you feel bad, right? So what do? So you're gonna go to work a few hours, or you're gonna learn a little bit. You're gonna make your minha and your shah. You're gonna put on your tefillin, but to check the box. There is no real meaning to that. And everything that is spiritual outside of the direct interest of physical pleasures are here to serve better the physical pleasures. So it's incredible how the Gaon now labels even the mitzvot and the limud, right? The learning of Torah and the mitzvot. He labels them essentially as a tool to enhance and empower more desires. So that is the ta'ava. The hemda, greed. It says greed is desiring something that does not have direct physical pleasures. For example, you desire wearing a beautiful suit. You don't have a physical pleasure wearing the suit. Maybe your undershirt and your underwear, if they're silk, so the body feels good. But the suit itself, there's no physical pleasure. You look great, you feel great, but your body does not have a beautiful home. Same thing. Big home, nice home, beautiful, but your body doesn't get anything.
Yeah, a nice car. It takes you
nice
from
car.
A to nice car or same car. They take you from A to B. It's the same.
Right. Physically, there's no pleasure. Yes, you feel good about it. You look good. You might like the sound that it makes.
Yeah.
You might like, but same thing with a big bank account. You have a lot of money in the bank account, says the Gaon. it doesn't do anything to your body. So there is such a desire within the person that is not directed towards the body, but more towards an illusion, a pleasure, okay, that is remote from the physical body, physical pleasure. It's more that your nefesh benefits, right? It's
like an illusion.
Yeah, it feels good. It feels good, but nothing. But there's no quantitative pleasure, defined pleasure. So this is why in the Gemara in Masechet Makot, Chachamim say gezel ve'arayot, stealing and prostitution. Nafsho shel adam, the nefesh of man, mitava, desire it, and greeds it. So he says, why those two lashon, the greeds and desire? Because prostitution is definitely a desire, right? It's a physical pleasure. But stealing, there's no physical pleasure in stealing. It's only a pleasure that the high the person gets from the idea of what he stole, knowing that he owns something he stole, which is hemda, which is greed. So he says, what is the difference also between the two? Incredible. He says the one that has greeds is never at peace. Why? Because he always needs to make more money, right? He runs after the money. So by running after the money all the time, he's always running. So he's never really at peace with himself or in harmony with himself. Because his nefesh always needs more, right? Pushes to get more. Now that greed, that need, essentially messes up with one's head, says the Gaon, and makes men rationalize to do things that are not moral. Suddenly, he's not going to be honest with what he's doing. He's going to find good reasons to believe that what he's after is really his, right? That what he's about to take, he deserves. And he falls into a trap of misbehavior and starts, making real bad moves and starts stealing and hurting. Originally, the root, says the Gaon, is it came from what? From the greed, from the high, the emotional high to feel like, wow, I own, I have. Like the Rambam writes in Sefer HaMoreh that ownership is an optical illusion created by man in order to organize society. But essentially, you don't own anything.
You own only what they cannot take. Mitzvot and...
Exactly.
The other is a leasing.
Right. It's a leasing. Yeah, exactly. Nachon. So then he says, now let's go back to the Pasuk. He says, who is the forbidden woman and who is the alien woman? So it says the alien woman is the desire.
What is the alien woman?
Nochia. The Nochia, the Pasuk says, Le'atilcha me'isha zara.
Okay.
So now he gave us definitions.
Which one is which one?
Right. So now he applies the teachings back to the Pasuk.
Okay.
So he says the Nochia, the foreign woman, who is she referring to? He says it's really talking about the desire that leads to immediate physical bodies. He says this Enochia, she's foreigner, right? She's foreigner. He says it's asur. Asur, totally asur. And we have no right to open ourselves to such vulnerability. He says this is the behavior of the goyim. People that don't have Torah, what are their motives? What drives? What stimulates them? Physical pleasure. If you look at today's generation that we're in, what motivates the entire generation? It's all physical pleasure. Ta'avot. The more ta'avot, immediate, and the more you are accomplished. Okay. However, Am Hashem says asur. We should never go for the ta'ava of this world. Therefore, she's considered like a goya, a nochia, a foreigner. Asur, a goya you cannot even touch. Now, why is, if so, the Shlomo HaMelech, we have to go. You have to go?
5 more minutes and we're done.
Okay. Why Shlomo HaMelech? So we're going to finish. I'm going to try to finish this. Why Shlomo HaMelech talks about the Nochia, about the foreign woman with her soft speech? You should not even be talking to her. But yet we said that the foreign, there's some type of communication. Right? Normally, Goya, no, you cut. There's no communication whatsoever. So who cares? She speaks softly, she doesn't speak softly. There's no communication, there's no talk. So says the Gaon, because the ta'ava at its true foundation was given for an existential purpose. Why did HaKadosh Baruch Hu give us the ta'ava to eat? So that we stay alive. The ta'ava of intercourse to reproduce. So in its core essence, it's there for something existential, something good. But because it's so sweet and so good, right? Then people lose the definition of what's existential and fall into what they want to believe is existential, but in reality is just a destruction of the soul.
Today, the food, they do this and this, hacky, and it's food.
Exactly. Desires, they're sweet, they feel good. So he says the ta'ava, the nochia, the ta'ava, you're always tasting. You eat to eat because you have to eat. But when you eat, the steak tastes good. The food tastes, you're having it. So it's very, very hard.
Speaking words, the Barim Betelim, and you start to speak, and one take to another.
So the engagement with the pleasure, is by definition fundamentally existential. However, because we are so exposed to it, and we don't have clear definition and limits, it overflows to the sin and self-centered pleasures. That's regarding the ta'ava. So the more you are away from it, and you can never really always be away from it, because you have a mitzvah of peruhu, you have a mitzvah of eating, you have a mitzvah of sleeping, you have a mitzvah of drinking. Right? But the more you push it back, and the more you have the ability, says the Gaon, to define the proper limits and recognize what's existential and kiyumi and what is extras and destructful. So that's why he says the approach, says Shlomo HaMelech, of the ta'ava is just run away from it as much as you can, because you can never really run away enough. Why can't you run away enough? Because you're always going to fall back to a minimal need that you have in order to exist. Now, that's regarding the nochia, the foreign woman. Regarding the forbidden woman, he says she's forbidden, but originally, according to the Torah, who's a forbidden woman? Like a married woman. Originally, before she got married, she was allowed. Right? When did she become forbidden? When she got married to somebody else. So says Shlomo HaMelech, the Gaon explains Shlomo HaMelech, he says, the hemda, the desire, or in the beginning, the greed that you have an obligation to make money. You have an obligation to make sure you do tzedakah. You have an obligation to put a roof under the head of your children. You have an obligation when you get married to satisfy your wife with a financial security, right? So the greed to make money when you engage, again, do have an existential reason behind it. There is no isur, says the Gaon, to make parnasa. There's no isur to want to have a lot of money. And he brings a pasuk. The pasuk says, "Le'ma'an yivarechecha Hashem Elohecha b'chol ma'aseh yadecha asher ta'aseh." Hashem will bless you, so that every action that you do, every endeavor you do, you will see blessings. So you see, it's a bracha. But again, says the Gaon, when you start now taking that greed and focusing it on others, on the Isha Zara, on the other person's wife, on the other person's means, on the other person's belongings, that's when you no longer have peace. That's when you just traded your soul, your inner peace, your harmony, your simha for darkness and torment. Because eventually what forces you to for more? This house has a nice house, I need a better house. This new car, I need to get it. This guy has a boat, I need to get it. This guy is so much, I need to get it, right? So again, it starts from something good, and what makes it bad? That you extrapolate that need, that desire beyond the gvulot, beyond the limitations of morality. And now what drives you to want more and desire more and want to have a lot of it is just because of what you see around you. Good?
Spectacular.
Okay, so we'll stop here. That's maybe my touch
Can you
on
do
some
at night?
Be'ezrat Hashem.
Besed Hashem. Okay.